In this tutorial, we're going to get to this final stage of the image, having it look painterly. We are right now here where we did a photo bash of all the images, and then we added some filters to make it look painterly. Now, I know how to do that in Photoshop, but in Clip Studio and all the other software, you have to discover it. I think you can just go to YouTube and search for how to make it look like a painting or some filter, right? This is where we are at right now. If you want to follow along, you can open the photo bashing. Let me go to the project files that you should have access to right here and open step number 10, where we're going to start painting the castle, the trees, the mountains, and the sky. Okay, so welcome. This is the 4th episode of a digital painting series where we are putting together a background using photo bashing and painting over it so we can do it really fast. Okay, so let's get it started. Before I go into the video where I did this in fast forward, I want to show you what I basically do. What I do is I take a reference. In this case, I take this painting and start taking colors from here, because honestly, if I'm a beginner and I don't know how to mix colors well, what I can do is take the colors of a master. In this case, I'm taking the work by Philip Ulrich, Arlich, right? And I think, oh my god, I really like this, right? So Philip, you are awesome. And so what I did is that I brought this into Photoshop. This is the picture. It's not super high resolution, but I don't need it. All I need is to pick colors from here, right? Now, how am I going to be painting? Well, the painting is very basic. Let me go to a new document and show you the brush that I'm using. It's the basic, this one, like hard, round, pressure, opacity, and flow. This is the one that I'm gonna be using, right? It's also called in other software like the wet brush. And so the way this works is that it draws like this. I'm using black, so I can keep painting, right? And then it goes all the way black. Now I have the flow and opacity on 50%. Let me bring it both to 100%. If I have, look, I can go really softly and I can go really dark with it. Now let me show you how I'm doing this in this screen. Okay, so this is very important because some beginners go like, yeah, like with hate. Some people tell me like, oh, this thing is not working. Like, dude, like, be gentle with it. One student was commenting on Discord that they broke the tip, and I was like, how much energy are you putting in, right? So it has to be really soft. Like, I'm barely touching, right? Like, I'm going very carefully. That's how you can paint, right? So that's what I'm gonna be using. And of course I can change the size. There's another setting where you can have the size change as you do this, but in my case I prefer to have the paint dabs. Like, if I do this like very softly, it paints very softly, and if I really push it, it goes black, right? So if this is the very first time, probably a good exercise is to go really soft and then start pushing the pen more and more and more until you get it like this, right? So what I was doing basically was the pen was pressing more and more and more. Basically, I was doing this. Like, imagine it's moving, I was pressing more and more and more and more, right? As I got to this black. So this is probably good exercise if you've never done anything, right? We're working on a bootcamp with Presha. She's going to be giving a class where you're going to learn and have exercises to paint like little spheres, right? And then have exercise that part and be able to have something like this, etc., right? So this is basically what we're gonna be doing. But I'm going to do it in fast forward, and in the painting, before I go to the video in fast forward, I'm basically going to do this. If I have, for example, I'm going to have a couple of layers, one for the trees, one for the castle, one for the mountains, one for the sky, and another for the clouds, right? So all I do is create a new layer. I just press Ctrl Shift N, or you can also press the new layer in here, right? On the bottom in here, and then double click. And I'm naming this paint and then trees, for example. So what I do is, instead of taking the colors from the picture, I go to the reference. And do we have trees? Yes, we do, right here. And I'm going to take this green, the lighter green, and then go back. Let me hide this. Go back, and then I'm just going to start painting in here, like just like this, right? And I'm painting. Now, this is a tip for you. Like, right now you can hear like tick, 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 tick. Now, instead of you seeing this, how it looks on the screen, I want to show it to you like how I do it here, right? Like, probably, let me see if I can increase the brightness in here. There you are. I think now it's brighter, right? So what I'm going to be doing is, this is my tip for you. Just pretend you know what you're doing. That's the thing. Take the brush and just do this. I'm just pretending that I know what I'm doing. I'm not exactly sure of what I'm doing, but I'm just putting some spots here and there, right? Just like that. I'm just going to do a little area, right? All I'm looking for really is to hide the texture a little bit. Leave a tiny bit of texture from there, but hide. And then go back. I'm going to show the image again, zoom in, and then take the mid-tone, which is this green, right? And then go back. Let me press Ctrl 0, hide this, and zoom into this area again. And then put the middle tones right here. Again, I'm pretending I know what I'm doing when I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. Right? And this is adding some splash of green color into it. Like this one is a tiny bit more saturated, right? And then I show the color again and take the darkest color and then bring that down. I'm holding Alt and click for that. And then paint where I have those shadows, right? Just like that. So look at what I'm doing. I'm doing it like this. Like if you see from here, this is what I'm doing. Right? Just like that. And this is something that it feels so good because you have most of the work done for you because of the picture, right? And so I'm gonna be doing that through the whole painting in fast forward. I'm gonna paint the castle and the trees. So hopefully with this slow motion kind of like detailed explanation, you know what I'm gonna be doing in fast forward. Okay, so let's jump right in. As you saw, what I do is I take colors from the trees and from the castle, and then I just start dropping that exact color and paint all over the castle. From the shadows, I take colors from the shadows and just reduce some areas from it, right? And that's basically it for the castle. Now I'm going to start painting the trees. And again, just as I told you, I use the green from the image, and then the midtones, I start adding all the midtones. And then I add like now the mountains. For the mountains, I'm using colors from the kind of from right there, from the same picture. And then I use the darkest tones from the reference that I got. And with that, we're going to be done with the trees. Now I'm going to be doing the same on, oh, by the way, just a quick note. Notice that I also brought some trees because I saw some trees in the castle, so I put some trees in there. It's just some dots in there, like it's not perfectly painting all over it. I'm leaving a tiny bit of the texture, but some of my dots, right? So it's not that hard, honestly. You have to try it. It's really fun to do. And then finally, one very important detail from the castle is that I darkened this area. Let me just play back that a little bit. Originally, this was too white, you see? And so I took colors from this area of the castle. Let me just point to what area. This area. I took colors from there and painted over in here, so it was not as bright, because that part is supposed to be shadow, right? And then after I painted all the shadows of the castle, I was done, and now I was ready to do the same thing for the mountains, right? I'm using colors from where I'm taking, well, from the mountains in here. These colors are basically being put down in there. And that's it. Look at that. I'm trying my best. Again, this is not super incredible. I understand that. But the point is, for a beginner tutorial, this should be good enough, right? And now I do the same for the sky. I'm removing some of the saturation in there. Let me go back. Just this is how it was, right? And then after painting a little bit, let me just go fast forward again, and painting tones from the image, from the reference, now it's starting to look like this. Now for the clouds, this is where I start using a specialty brush. This is from a website where I got these clouds from Ghibli brush. That's how it's called. You can search for it online, Ghibli brush set for Photoshop. This one specifically, it's $13. I got it some time ago, right? And so this is pretty cool. There's this one, but there's also some free ones. This is the one that I'm using, but you can also go to Brush Easy, I believe. Brush Easy. And you can go there and find also free brushes. You can type clouds, and in there you can find one of those, right? So from there you can download it, get some tutorial to install those brushes. Every software has the installation a little bit differently. And so with that brush, I added these clouds, right? Nothing super complicated, something fairly easy, right? And with that, we're almost done. And at the end, I just added this effect. With the cloud, I added some dark in there. On a layer right here, let me call your attention to this, the layer panel, on a new layer in the multiply. Now, notice something very interesting. I created a layer for each one. The paint layer for the mountain, and then paint layer for the clouds, for the sky, right? This one that says paint layer, I believe is for the castle, right? Later I renamed them. In the final project, you're going to have the rename, right? So I added these kind of dark elements in there. Like, let me just show you the before and after. This is how it was without the effects. Let me just finish the clouds. This is how it was with that dark effect. And then after adding that, look at how it looks. I think it looks pretty cool. Look, that's the after. This was before. This is how it used to look. This is with. I can show you in the final project. Let me just open it. You can open it on your end on step number 14 when I painted the clouds. And it's this layer. Look, I renamed them. It's called paint, and then the castle, paint the mountains, paint clouds, and paint sky. And then this is the layer. Look, this is without, this is with. Without, with. With it kind of gives us cinematographic look, right? And that's it. That's how you can paint this image really fast. I didn't do it from scratch. Instead, I took a couple of pictures, combined them together, and then do some photo bashing, doing some masking. And then I did some color correction for the images so the colors meshed better. And finally, I started painting over it. All the painting, except for the clouds, but all the painting used the normal brush. Not the normal, but one of the general brushes that every software has, which is when you paint very softly, it paints the same size, but very transparent. And when you press it, it goes darker. Just find a general brush that does that. And it was the round one, not even specific. Now for the clouds, that's the only time I used a specialty brush. Okay, so that's it. That's how you create a background like this. Hopefully this was useful. I'm looking forward for you to see if you can do this same painting, and then more than this, I want to see you go through this process where you select a reference. In my case, I selected this castle from Philip. And then, I want something like that. I need a tree, I need mountains, I need this and that. And then after having all of that, I want to see an original creation from you. Okay? So that's it. I'm looking forward to see your work, and if you like this video series, subscribe to this channel and like the video. Take care.